It sort of gives a new meaning to the term method acting.
Yeah, there was no method acting requirement there at all.
Now, did you have any sort of awareness when you were playing the character of, like, what this character would mean 10, 20 years from now?
No, I had no idea. I was surprised that Part 2 had evolved. In those days, it was, low-budget film. As far as I understand, it was $1 million production, and we were going, wow. It took a month to make. The whole film was shot at night, and so, yeah, it was, you figured it would just be a low-budget film. It would come out, and a certain following would enjoy it. Which reminds me, I bring my family to the premiere, and, we thought it was a big deal.
Did you ever have a desire to play Jason again after Part 2?
I would have, but they didn't ask. So I think they went to a bigger, stronger guy. Better looking guy.
What's great about your character, which is so unique, you're the first Jason that was actually undead. I mean, was there anything different that you tried to bring to it?
I was one of those ones that really wasn't following the fortes of the past. I actually had to go rent 1 through 4 to 5 to figure out what I was all about. So when I met with Frank Mancuso Jr., I didn't look too stupid. I actually explained myself, and what they wanted, they were telling me, coming back from the dead, you're dead. Now, how do you tell somebody you're pissed off when you're dead? It's not an easy task, let me tell you. There's some body language there you have to work it out. So my role working with Michael Nomad, who was our stunt coordinator, was to figure out how to show the anger, at the same time show the dominating presence of this demon without being human, and again without being robotic. He wasn't looking for Frankenstein from the 60s. So it was a little challenging, but at the same time, it's a different form of acting. When you're pissed off, you can let everybody know, damn, I'm mad! But see, stuff like that doesn't bother most people. You acknowledge it. Now, for me to sit up here and actually look at you and think what's going through my mind, that's something that's a completely different anger feeling. So, am I doing okay?
Yeah.
Is everybody okay? What? I have an 8-year-old, and I always laugh because I'm thinking, Jason Part 20? What do you think? He's big as me, he's growing, I mean, that might be kind of a little nice side twist, a little sickness there, but I think it'd be great. I laugh at him sometimes because we have some of our memorabilia from the movie, and when he sees it, he goes, Dad, what'd you do? And I said, well, I showed him the movie, and I explained to him that it's all cameras and it's not real, so he understands it. But sometimes he'll tell the kids at school, he's in the 3rd grade, yeah, my dad played Jason. And they're like, no, he didn't. So what we have to do is, of course, we have to get an autographed picture in wardrobe and out of wardrobe, and he goes to school with this. And then the kids are like, oh, I want to go to his house. I want to go to his house. So my little boy is reaping some of that reward. But, I think it'd be funny to watch one of our children do the character in 10, 15 years. I think it'd be just not only humorous, but at the same time, I think it'd be very, very cool.
Now, you were also in the military, is that correct?
Yeah, I spent 4 years in the military, 74 to 78. So when I got the part, they were looking for, again, a stuntman. But I try to stay in shape even at my age now. But the factors of coming out of the military and then going right into this wasn't a big deal to me. And again, I had Michael Nomad for a stunt coordinator, and very reputable in those years. I'm not sure what his career is now, but I had a full faith in him. When he told me that we were going to do a half a body burn and we would do these stunts underwater, I wasn't really intimidated by the factor because I had confidence in the people around me. And that's part of being a stuntman, from what I totally understand from being a true stuntman, is having the people around you believing that they will support you and protect you. I had that faith in Michael.
Now, Kane, and of course we all know Kane is not... I was just going to add that Kane is not replaceable. No. Now, Kane, you obviously are the first person to play Jason more than once. How did you come to get to the role after, following the footsteps of 6 other people?
I had followed the series just because I've always been a horror fan and had watched the movies and thought they were a lot of fun, and thought, what a great character to play as a stunt person, because it's a physical role and you get to do a lot of fun stuff, and never even thinking I might play the part eventually. But I did a movie called Prison with John Buechler. Rennie Harlan directed it. It was, I think, one of his first American films. And I played a character at the end that comes up out of the ground, a rotted corpse. And you know, a lot of people that have seen me at these shows know this whole story about the worms and everything. The director, Rennie, said, you know, we're going to put live worms all over the makeup so it looks like, you know, more of a rotting corpse. And I said, that's a great idea. Let's put worms in my mouth, too, because when I come up out of the ground screaming, they'll come squirming out of my mouth. And we did that, and I didn't think it was a big deal. Buechler was impressed with the fact that I would, you know, try to do as much as I could for the character. And he was the makeup effects person on that movie. And the year after that, he was hired to direct Part 7. And I think there's no doubt that I played Jason in Part 7 because of Buechler. I don't think there was anything that CJ did wrong. If they went with me, it was because Buechler was pushing and pushing and pushing and just wouldn't let them tell him no. So the first time I played the character, I loved doing it, and I guess it worked out pretty well, and they kept asking me back until recently. Oh, well, thank you.
Now and Warrington and area as well.
Certainly a trademark of Jason is the hockey mask and the fact that nothing really can be done to him. So it's almost like as a fan, you wait for the next movie just to see what new things they're going to try to do to Jason to destroy him. And it's almost like once you've seen a few movies, you have to keep seeing the rest of them just to see what comes up next. And my input as to trying to make the kills creative, I think makes it a little more interesting too. You don't want to go to the movie and see Jason kill people the same way he always has. Maybe once or twice, just for old time's sake, you do the same things, but you need to come up with inventive ways, and not necessarily more graphic, but just more violent without the gore, so that it'll be in the final product and just as fun to watch. Like in Part 8, the kill that comes to mind is the guy that is boxing Jason on top of the roof. And the actor hit me, his name is VC, hit me like 60 times or something. Each take, because we ran the entire take from all the punches till the very end, he wears himself out and then says something unfriendly to Jason, at which point Jason hits him once and his head flies off. So, you know, it's kind of a shock that, you know, he'd punch a guy's head off, but the head goes flying off the roof and lands in a trash can. What more could you ask for?
Now, Kane, when Part 8 came around, was that something you lobbied hard for? Did they approach you about returning?
I did, because we shot Part 7 in L.A. and Alabama, and then I heard they were going to do Part 8, and they were, you know, kind of considering me to come back and play the part again. But then I heard that they were thinking of using a Canadian stuntman, ironically enough, in Jason Takes Manhattan. And I did, in fact, lobby very hard to play the part again. I called up the people at Paramount and said, I really want to do this again. I had a good time doing it. I think I did fairly well. And they finally listened, and they were, you know, able to go ahead and say, let's do it again. I totally enjoy playing the character. I always have. And I think that was part of my success, being asked a second time since nobody had before, was that I really tried to put as much into it as I could. A lot of people just think, you know, it's just a big guy in a mask walking around, not much to it. Easy to do, but if you think about it, trying to be scary without facial expressions or your voice, pretty difficult to do with just the way you position your body. And I guess some of the things that I like how they turn out the best are scenes that I didn't even really think about too much. I just went in there, rolled the cameras, and just did what I felt was right, and it ends up, to me, looking the best.
Now, you kept this character alive for 10 years. I mean, I think single-handedly, when the series during the lean years in the 90s, it was Kane that was going to the conventions and out there pushing this character. I mean, what is it about Jason that you so connected with?
You know, I guess the character possibly isn't too far away from my real personality. So it doesn't take long to slip right in there and start tearing people up. I just love doing it. I always have. And I think